Released in 1994 as an OVA, a prequel to the 1991 live-action sci-fi film Zeiram. The live-action film came out first in 1991, and the anime is a prequel to that film. Area Zeiram is set in a unique stylistic fusion of Southeast Asian world design. So you can think of places like India, Thailand, Indonesia, some Japanese elements in the design of like the weapons and the clothing. The story begins with Iria, an apprentice bounty hunter, and her older brother Glenn taking on a rescue mission to a hijacked space station. Where they find most of the crew killed, they discover that the culprit is a seemingly indestructible alien called Zeiram, the antagonist of the entire series. Anyways, Iria and Glenn are on the spaceship trying to rescue everyone, and then Zeiram pulls up with like light shining behind him. This is about to be bad. This theme music starts playing, and then he basically just starts bodying everybody, right? Glenn is like struggling just to fight him. Like, have you seen like the scene where like when Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor was fighting like the T-800 in Terminator 1 and nothing was working, like he wasn't staying down? That's basically what happened. That's basically what was going on here. Iria and her brother couldn't stop Zeiram. They decided this man is too powerful, so they ended up rescuing all the crew off the space station and deciding to try to leave. But Iria's brother Glenn decided to try to stay back, and he basically blew up the space station with the Zeiram on it. So him and Zeiram were on the space station while it blew up. Iria is voiced by Aya Hisakawa, who's been doing voices since like 1987. She's done like over like thousands of character voices. I'm pretty sure if you look her up, like one of the characters you like, I'm pretty sure she's done the voice for it. She's done like Rem from Trigun, Sailor Mercury from the OG Sailor Moon. Matter of fact, she's Unohana from Bleach 1000 Year Blood Arc. And she's Bulma from Dragon Ball Super. She's like 100% a legend. Go check her out. Iria is somewhat of a tomboy. She's reckless, stubborn, and can be a bit annoying sometimes. But every time she's on screen, she's always in some cool action scene that makes you feel like she's like Batman. Iria's standard attire is basically like a black and white full body armor, but most of the episode she wears like this reddish cloak that's accurately replicated from the live action movie, as are like the strings of beads she wears in her hair. A masculine accessory that visually represents her tomboyish nature. She was originally designed by Keita Amamiya, but Matsukazu Katsura had a lot of influence on the animation side of the design for the anime. But visually, she was basically super close to the live action movie, so her design didn't really change that much. I've been saying names without explaining who these people are, but Matsukazu Katsura is basically a Japanese manga artist who's basically well known for creating Zetmen. And Keita Amamiya is the creator of Zeiram, Garo, which I think is pretty cool, right? That's cool, right? Anyways, Zeiram was voiced by Wataru Takagi, who also voiced Ganju from Bleach, Pillar from Cyberpunk Edgerunners, you know that guy that died first in the group Sad Times, Aruka Sensei and Obito from Naruto, and I believe he also voiced Joker from Batman Ninja. I'm not even gonna really say anything really, because the only thing Zeiram does in the entire series is just grunts, right? He just goes like, or just like grunts in pain or something along those lines. Okay, so Zeiram is the ultimate life form, right? Virtually indestructible, and he's pretty much unstoppable. So Zeiram can consume and assimilate the tissues of other organisms, using them as material to produce weird disfigured lackeys or clones of himself. And he can also assimilate weapons and like creatures into himself to grow more powerful. But he also retains the memories of like the creature he assimilate, right? His design was basically based on a Ronin character from like period films. It's like a tall man wearing like a cape and a traditional wide brim samurai rain hat, right? That's basically how his silhouette looks. Zeiram also has like this weird face on his forehead that resembles a Noh mask. You know those masks that the Japanese use in like theaters and stuff like that? And the face on his head can like extend like an alien tongue, right? Like a xenomorph tongue. The thing can come out and like bite people. It's really weird. I don't even know why it's there. I'm like, why is that there? Keita Amamiya, the creator of Zeiram, claims he was influenced by Predator, Alien, and Terminator whenever creating the characters for the world. So Iria ends up being ricocheted from the space station explosion, and she ends up on some random planet in the middle of nowhere, right? She's like, oh no, where am I? It turns out that the corporation that hired her to go to the space station to rescue the civilians is now trying to silence her and her crew, right? So they're going after her, trying to kill her. They were the reason that Zeiram was on the space station in the first place. So I guess they were trying to transport him because they're trying to control Zeiram as some sort of weird bioweapon. So she's like running, shooting them down. Guess who else is on the planet with her? Zeiram. So at this point in time, he's just indiscriminately killing everything he sees. He's assimilating weapons, using the weapons against the civilians. He's just destroying everything. You just see like the soldiers and police officers who's trying to fight against him just getting completely destroyed. They're bringing like all kinds of weird technologies and trying to shoot at Zeiram with like nothing happening. It's like crazy. The influences of the Southeast Asian style choices you can 100% see in the vehicle designs, buildings, and weapons. Speaking of weapons, Iria and the other bounty hunters use like all kinds of crazy gadgets and weapons throughout the whole series. Some of the weapons and vehicles look kind of silly because in your mind you're like thinking, bro, there's no way that's working right now. For example, there's like a side character that uses like an umbrella with a chair as his like spaceship, right? Or his vehicle. He's basically on it all the time. And it also transforms. It's like the design is very creative for the world, and I think it works. You know, like, oh yeah, that makes sense in the world, but it just looks silly when you see it on screen. Iria herself uses like a ton of gadgets. It's like she has Batman's utility belt underneath her cloak. Every episode you'll see her use a different gadget, but you'll never see that gadget used again. One of the things I really liked about it is the technology. Although it is extremely advanced, it looks weathered, like beaten up, like it's been used a bunch of time before we even started the anime. In terms of action, a lot of the action takes place over a variety of different environments, and they're super well choreographed. There's like spaceship battles, some hand-to-hand combat, some shooting. Including having a live action movie, the series was adapted into a Japan-only video game called Hyper Iria in 1995. Although it did not follow the OVA storyline very closely, Iria also appears as the main character in Zeiram Zone for the PlayStation.